For the second week of the road, the Hawkeyes are going to kick off at night. It's a 6 o'clock Big Ten opener at Rutgers. Good to have you along for a preview of tonight's football game, which you can listen to on News Radio 1040 WHO. And, of course, you can watch it on FS1. Hi, Ross Peterson.
You almost said our sister station, News
I know,
Radio.
I did. You know, when you bounce back and forth between radio stations, you forget where you're at sometimes, you know.
Well, you've been doing KXNO now for a dozen years or so.
Yeah, 12 years in October. Can you believe it? 12 years.
Oh.
They've let a guy who doesn't even live in Des Moines do a show in Des Moines.
I wasn't sure you'd make it 12 days when you started. So more power to you, brother.
God, 12 years doing KXNO, 9 years, 8 or 9 years doing Sound Off now, which is absolutely incredible. This will be the second time you and I have talked about a Rutgers game, or actually third time, as Iowa is 2-0 against the Scarlet Knights, and this is just the second time they've played in Piscataway.
Piscataway.
Sure. You did what away?
Stop it. You see, you always go the sophomoric stuff.
Because you know why? I'm sophomoric. That's why I am a sophomoric human being. The Hawkeyes, this is interesting because I think the big storyline to this game is not the Big Ten opener. It's not even Spencer Petras. It's whether or not this game hits the over. Because right now it's at 34. 33.5 is the lowest since like 2004. They never hit that. But this is one of the lowest over-under totals we've seen in a college football game in some time, lowest since 2015, and that's the storyline. Do both teams combine to score more than 34 points?
Boy, Trav, you know, let's talk. Let's kick it around a little bit because I'm shaking my head no, and my knee-jerk reaction is there's no way because I just don't see how this Hawkeye offense rallies up any points and puts together a couple of different touchdowns, and I don't see how this defense gives up a couple of touchdowns. When you're talking about 35 points, you're still talking about a game that's a 30 or 21-14 game. Which is the defense going to give up 21? Is this offense going to score 21? I think the answer to both of those is no. And so that leads me to believe that you're going to have an under. I'm not putting my money where my mouth is because I don't enjoy doing that as much as a lot of people. So I'm not betting on it, but if I were, I think the under is going to hit. Now, let me kick the tires on why the only thing that makes me doubt this. I thought the best team that the Hawkeyes had seen all year was the Cyclones. And I thought that the Cyclones were a very good football team. Today, the Cyclones lost to a really good team in Baylor.
True.
Really good, well-coached, talented team in Baylor. So does that make you second guess that, you know, how good that defense played against Iowa State? Because they haven't played anybody outside of Iowa State. So do you have any Are we fools golding ourselves with this defense? I think this defense is fantastic. It's the only thing that would make me lean towards betting the over. If I needed a reason to bet it, I think I would say, well, we don't know anything about either sides of this team, so maybe there's going to be points today. But
here's the deal: Rutgers just gives up less yards on the ground defensively than Iowa does. Wow. They stop the rush. All right, so that means if Iowa's going to score points, the defense is probably going to have to score, and Spencer Petras is going to have maybe the game of his life, right? And Keegan Johnson, I don't think made the trip, so Keegan's not going to be available for the game. Don't quote me on that. I just heard some reports yesterday, and I haven't really been up to date this morning because I've been watching a lot of other college football. But listen, do you trust Spencer Petras to pass his way to 28 points? And I don't at this point. And even John says Iowa 20, Rutgers 3, defense scores 7. That still doesn't hit the over. Right, that still doesn't hit the over of 34. So that's the storyline. Everybody's paying attention to this, and I think it's fun to pay attention to it. It's interesting, but it just describes really how bad this Iowa offense is, which is it's not good. I mean, it's okay to say it. Doesn't mean the Hawks can't win football games. We've seen them win football games with a really good defense before. It's just this offense isn't very good.
Yeah, and this Rutgers team is built a lot like this Iowa team. A fantastic punter. You know, this is a weird deal to go into a game and you actually don't have the best punter in the game. I didn't like hearing that. At the beginning of the week, I was like, wait a minute. That's not right. We have the best punter ever. We're the best punter ever.
We have the second coming of Reggie Roby is what we have, right? I mean,
you could have stopped at second coming for a lot of people, okay? Like, this kid is fantastic. You like the haircut, by the way?
Oh, you got a haircut?
I got all of them cut.
Did you have a showing today? Did you have to dress up for clients because you wouldn't show the house or what?
Didn't have a showing today. No, don't have an open house tomorrow. Going fishing tomorrow.
That's right. You're leaving me for the week. This is
that extra water weight.
Okay.
I want to be more aerodynamic as I run through the Great White North from the Bear. When you were a kid, Travis, you didn't go from a middle school to a high school where the high school was a conglomerate of a bunch of middle schools, did you?
No. See, what we had was this. And it's changed since I was in school. So I went to Tri-Center Neola, and so when I was in elementary, I started kindergarten and first grade at a separate elementary in Minden. Minden still had an elementary school. So the kids in Minden went to school in Minden. The kids in Neola went to school in Neola. Kids in Persia went to school in Persia. And I believe the kids in Beebeetown ended up going to Persia as well. So when I was in second grade, they built a brand new elementary out by the high school. So all those elementary school kids combined. And then in middle school, we went back to the Minden building to have junior high. And then we went back out to the high school for 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th grade. But It wasn't a conglomerate. I mean, I had 55 kids, 53 kids in my graduating class. So it wasn't like you had that in like your probably kindergarten class.
Yeah. I mean, well, so you had this experience. This is what the Tory Taylor conversation, when I heard that this week of like, oh yeah, your punter's not the best punter in the world. In fact, not going to be the best punter in this game. It reminded me of when I went to East High from Amos Hyatt. Because at Amos Hyatt, we had some really tough kids, right? And I was like, oh, man, Gary Behrens is the toughest guy. He's going to be the toughest guy at East High. Well, then you go to the big pool and you go, oh, man, you mean my punter's not the best punter anymore? Oh, shoot. What are we going to do if our punter's not the best punter? This is going to be a rock fight, man. This is going to be a 10-9. Is it one of our friends, one of our listeners usually pulls out the line, first one to blank wins. Man, first one to 14 might win this game.
You might be accurate there. We know that Rutgers is going to try to establish a run and run the football. The nice thing about that is we could have a 2.5-hour football game.
Oh,
now I
make up for last week.
Yes. Hopefully, crossing our fingers, I don't think there's any rain expected in the state of New Jersey tonight, but I could be wrong because I've been wrong before and I'm wrong quite a bit. But I don't think it's going to be anything like we saw last week in Iowa City to where we never really ever went on the air. We ended up doing a show right here on Facebook and Twitter. But it could be a very fast game just because Rutgers is just going to run the ball. Hawks
will at least come with a balanced attack. I think that they'll look a little bit like they did last week. I mean, Travis, putting the ball up in the air against Nevada had to be an indication of something. And the way that Spencer Petras put those balls in catchable places for the receivers, I hope that we see that a time or two today.
Question for you.
Does Ragaini catch one? That's what you're going to ask.
Ragaini? I can't say Ragaini anymore, and I got to say Ragaini. Throwing me off. But I do have a question for you. Is this a must-win? And I only say that because you got Michigan, at Illinois, at Ohio State coming up. Is this a must-win?
Yeah, Trav, because you're staring. If you lose this, you're looking down the barrel of a losing record.
You are very much so.
Yeah. I know what you meant. I understood why you kind of couched that, and I know you well enough to hear that in your voice that you're smart enough to know that mathematically this is not a must-win.
Yes.
Could you lose this game and beat Michigan next week? Absolutely. And would that make up for a loss like this? Absolutely. Yeah.
They're not beating Michigan next week.
Listen, you're the same guy that said there's no way Nebraska was going to lose to who they lose to, Georgia State.
Georgia Southern.
Either way. Yeah, not Georgia. My point is, because I understood why you kind of your pause in your voice there, because you know that technically it's not a must win.
True.
And is there pressure here that to win this game? Because like we in our text group, one of our group texts of our buddies, we're asking about the rest of the way out of this Hawkeye team, and really the Hawkeyes and Cyclones, because it's a hodgepodge of
yes.
friends in there. Are there any guaranteed wins on the schedule anymore?
No, not for either.
Maybe Illinois. Maybe.
I thought you know what? If I were to pick one of them, Northwestern would be it.
Oh, that's a good pick. Right. Right now, I think that's a good pick.
Because you got to go to Illinois. Illinois is sitting with 3-1 right now.
And Nebraska, with the coaching change, you never know what could happen over a month or 2 months before that game happens.
That game could be for last place in the West.
Wow, dude! Don't tell me.
I know I'm not saying it's going to be. I'm saying the possibility is there because November is horrible. I mean, not only do you have Michigan at Illinois, at Ohio State coming up, then November is at Purdue, Wisconsin, at Minnesota. Minnesota was kicking the crap out of Michigan State, just kicking the crap. I mean, they're probably going, why did we just give Mel Tucker $100 million? Because they're getting shut out at home. And
don't worry, they're going to have enough money to buy him out. Don't worry about it.
It's funny how that works out, isn't it? It's funny how that always works out that way. Really does. And then you finish up the season with Nebraska, and who knows where you're at mentally right there. You know, and
so that's, again, maybe Illinois, maybe Northwestern. You got to win these games to start building back some of that confidence. Now, for Iowa State, again, I think Iowa State lost to a really good football team today, and they lost by 1 touchdown.
And some people would tell you the referees beat Iowa State, not the other way around.
I've seen that and heard that, but either way, it was a close football game against a really good Baylor team. So I think that Iowa State's going to have a couple more. Iowa State's still going to be a bowl team. They look like a really good football team to me. Probably a top 25 team as the season wears along.
Kyle says, Michigan almost lost to Maryland today. Well, Maryland's not a bad football team. It's not.
The Hawkeyes aren't a bad football team. They're a bad offense.
They're bad offensively.
Yeah.
But that's the thing is, if you get an offense that keeps the Iowa defense on the field for a long time.
I want to be clear. I don't think the Hawkeyes beat Michigan. I don't think they do. I fear more than it looks like that Big Ten championship game that we saw last, when was that? Last December.
Yeah.
That's my bigger fear. But if they lose this game, and if they lose this game, I'm going to be certain they're going to get their butts kicked by Michigan. It wouldn't surprise me, dude. It'd be a Ferentz thing to do. Lose in Piscataway and then come back at 11 o'clock against Michigan and beat the pants off them.
That's fair. Now, I am letting my peacock fly. I'm channeling my.
That's why you were wearing the hoodie.
Yeah, I'm wearing my Frank Garza issued hoodie, and letting my peacock fly as you down the Gatorade and get the sodium in you. I've got the LaCroix. I'm going with the black raspberry LaCroix. But
I'm putting the sodium in me.
You need to put something in you because you keep losing weight.
Why you got to bring up why do you body shame me? Whenever you get the opportunity, you body shame.
I'll gladly give you 100 pounds if you want it.
When you said I'm putting sodium in my body,
yeah.
This is not, because I look like this, I don't pay attention to the ingredients of stuff at all. When you say sodium, I think of Chinese food. Isn't Chinese food high in sodium?
Yes, very much so. And MSG, I believe.
But Gatorade is also high in sodium?
Oh, the sodium is what replenishes. That's what replenishes your body, man. That's the magic ingredient.
I'm so blind, dude. Do you see me doing the old man? Like I have to look.
Yeah, I know. See, I had the bifocals, dude. I had the bifocals. Justin says, okay, this is 2 weeks in a row. Trav's been in his basement. Absolutely, we can take sound off on the road. Well, it's completely different in the way the setup is. Now, listen, we're not supposed to get off the air till 1 o'clock in the morning. All right, I'm not.
Here's the thing, man. One of us is still right here.
Yes.
To this machine.
Yes.
In fact,
Stadium.
Getting close to kickoff here.
Yes.
So we're still going to be rocking and rolling.
So here is the deal. We are doing the Jethro's Barbecue Sound scheduled to go on the air at 11 o'clock tonight, on the air until 1 o'clock in the morning. I have a feeling this is going to be a fast game, which means we may be on the air early. So be aware of that. The game is coming up, kickoff just minutes away on News Radio 1040 WHO. If you want to watch it, it's also on FS1. Ross and I will be back at halftime. We're not going to come after the second quarter. We're going to come back on at halftime to discuss the first half action. Then we'll be back on again after the game. Look at that.
Here.
Look at that. Hey, Tony. That's Tony, our producer.
Hello.
He's in a good mood. He didn't even have to come in till like 11. He wasn't even scheduled to be till 11. He's a gamer. He is a gamer. He wants to hang out.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's the plan. We're going to listen to the game. We're going to watch the game. We'll be back at halftime. And then we'll have the Jethro's Barbecue Sound off from 11 o'clock to 1 o'clock. So write it down, mark it down, and get ready to have a little bit of fun tonight. He's Ross Peterson. I'm Travis Justice. We will see you at halftime of the Iowa-Rutgers game. See you then.